everybody. Today we're in REI in Westbrook, Maine, interviewing Kaylin, who has given us so much help with backpacks and shoes and tents and other things. So I'm just going to let her introduce herself. She has thru-hiked in 2019. Take it away, Kaylin.
Hi guys, my name is Kaylin. My trail name was Moxie, so a lot of people on the trail know me as that. It's kind of like my second identity. I hiked in 2019, and at the time I was 18 years old and did it by myself. So it was kind of like a big undertaking, but it was definitely the best thing that I've ever done. And I'm really excited that I got to help out Mike and Julie with all of their gear, and I'm excited to follow along with their journey.
Kaylin, what would you say is maybe the most challenging part of your trail and also the most exciting part of your trail?
Yeah, so the best part for me was just the whole idea of being out in the mountains for 6 months, and it was really just something that I had wanted to do for a couple of years. My dad took me hiking up Mount Katahdin when I was 16, and after that I kind of fell in love with the AT and researching and watching all kinds of videos of hikers hiking it, so naturally I just became obsessed. And for a while my family was against it because I was so young, but in my senior year of high school they finally agreed to let me do it, and they'd support me, so I got to do it. And just kind of hiking solo as an 18-year-old was really empowering, and it was really fun. I met a lot of people. That was one of the biggest things that I loved, was the people, the community. Also just hiking back home, it was really neat, being dropped off in Georgia and then hiking back up to Maine on Katahdin, which is kind of like my home base, my favorite mountain. It was really, really special to me. Probably the most challenging part was the rain, the bad weather and stuff. Luckily, I had a pretty good weather year, so I can't imagine how it would be if it was actually a bad weather year. I'm not sure how people deal with that. But another thing was missing my family a lot, so they came down to meet me at a few different places. It was Virginia and Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, and each time when they would drop me back off on trail and they would leave, I get really, really sad. So that was kind of difficult. That and missing a lot of family events and stuff that year, that, you know, like my cousin's wedding and holidays and stuff like that, I just was really sad to miss. I would FaceTime my family and as they were doing that kind of stuff, and it was really sad, but kept going and it was fine the next few days, and I was just motivated, so that helped me a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. Kaylin, when did you start and when did you summit Katahdin?
I started April 1st and I summited September 28th, so it was just under 6 months.
Wow, that's incredible. How many miles a day did you begin with, and by the end, how many were you walking?
So in the beginning, I started off doing 8 to 10 miles a day, and by week 2, I think, I started doing like 15-mile days. But throughout the whole entire trail, it varied a lot. I had a lot of short mile days where it was like 5 to 10 miles into town or something. I also had a lot of high mile days where it was, 20 plus miles a day. I think on average, I averaged like 12 to 13 miles a day if you consider if I had hiked every single day. Towards the end, it also died off a little bit because of the difficulty in New Hampshire and Maine. So it went back down to like 10 miles a day.
Yeah, we have been hearing about the technical 200, the end of New Hampshire and the beginning of Maine. Did you find that physically the most technical?
Yeah, so in New Hampshire, it was difficult, but it wasn't as bad as Western Maine. The Western mountains in Maine were really, really rugged, and that was where I had some of the toughest time trying to get through, and it was really hard mentally and emotionally just because of how tough it was to hike through.
Sure. What kept you going?
The fact that I was almost done. I was so close, and I was in Maine, so I had a lot of people supporting me, and I knew that home was so close, and I was almost done with this big goal, so I couldn't stop then. I had to keep going.
Wow, that is so amazing. Kaylin, finally, what would you suggest for future thru-hikers? If there are a couple of bits of wisdom, I know that your life was turned upside down and probably it'll never be the same, but what would you say for those who are considering?
Yeah, so specifically, I really like to help out females that are trying to go solo, because I know a lot of them aren't really sure if they should go alone or not, and I say just go for it. Like, I was alone, but I was solo, but I was never alone, and I think a lot of people get scared thinking that they would be alone and it would be, you know, they'd get hurt or something, but the trail is honestly one of the safest places I've ever been, and even though you do hike solo, you're never actually alone. You kind of have to try hard to be alone on that trail. So you always have people around you, you're gonna make tons of friends, you're gonna have so much fun, and it's just easy to be by yourself and not really have to worry about someone else. You can do your own thing. And also, don't quit on a bad day. That's not just for girls, but for everyone. There are a lot of bad days out there, but you can't quit on those days, because most likely you're gonna have amazing days right after, and that's gonna motivate you to keep going through those bad days. So always, you know, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So
That is great advice. Thank you so much. Kaylin from REI in Westbrook, we really appreciate you, and we love your spirit and little Moxie.
Thank you.
And as it turns out, Kaylin was just remembering that she summited Katahdin on the same day that Homebrew did.
Yeah.
So the two of them are in the same video. They didn't know each other prior, but they summited, and
It's a funny coincidence.
it is a cool coincidence. We're
Yeah.
really proud of you, Kaylin, and thank you again for all the help that you've given Mike and me and the whole store.
It's been
We're
my
impressed
favorite
with the
part
gear.
about working here, is just getting to know customers, especially you guys, because it's like, you know, an actual connection, and I'm so excited to follow along. So it's been awesome.
Thank you, Kaylin.
Yeah.
We're so thankful, and thank you to REI for helping us out so much.
Thank you guys.
All right, take care.